Hey everybody, Larry Bailey here. How's everybody going? Today is Tuesday, June 11th. It's right around 4 p.m. Eastern. You know Chris got the first chat, right? Of course he did. Chris is like, let's go. You even waited. I know you gave everybody like a chance, Chris. You gave everybody a chance, and I know everybody appreciates that. So why are we here? Every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific, we meet as a community over here at Mortgage.Community. If you're listening to replay, hop on live. It's really easy. There's no stress. There's no mess. It's 30 minutes. We talk about all things Encompass. I'm in this mode to go through for the month of June. It was May and June, right? May and June was all about going over Encompass self-health checks. Today's topic's all about business rules ruling your world. You know, are they creating inefficiencies? Maybe. I'm going to go through a couple of things. We're going to talk about some concepts. You guys are going to answer some questions. We're going to get into some pop quizzes, like how long do you think my hair gets before I have to cut it? That kind of a thing. And then also some announcements. So as always, number 3, actually it's number 1. I used to go straight to the metal, but that's really, really short. In any event, it's community call, right? So always ask your questions. If you have anything, dare you to try to stump me. I was in yesterday. So what happened yesterday? Yesterday, I left my house 3:30 a.m. I got back this morning around 9:30 a.m. I went out to Portland. I met with the Knowledge Coop. If you guys know what the Knowledge Coop is, we're going to be announcing some really cool stuff soon. So if you're not following them or myself on the socials, stay tuned. It's exciting stuff. It's very exciting stuff. So, hoorah. All right. Who has moved their entire company to the web, right? Nobody. I did a post last week on the 4 pillars. For those of you that have heard me talk about this, I'm very set in my ways. I've been talking about this really since last year. Is it Coop or Co-op? No, it's the Coop, Knowledge Coop, like C-O-O-P. Candace. So the 4 pillars, right? First pillar is EPC. Now, I bring this up because with business rules, one of the things that you need to start thinking about is workflow engine. And so when it comes to the 4 pillars, you've got Encompass Partner Connect, you've got enhanced conditions, you've got workflow tasks, and then putting it all together, you've got workflow engine. Workflow engine is your server-side business rule monster, and it really is super. Has anybody, pop quiz, has anybody written some really cool workflow engine rules yet? I've done some notifications. I've done enhanced condition automation. I know of somebody who's done, although I haven't implemented it yet fully, I know who somebody's done initial disclosures automation through there. So has anybody done it yet? Easiest ones, honestly, are notifications, tasks. So just flood. So Chris, did you order the automation through Workflow Engine? Or when you say just flood, you mean just EPC? Like, did you actually configure the automatic flood ordering? And if you did, what was your trigger? Everybody's going to want to know. So what Chris is going to answer here for us in a second, but you know, business rules historically, Patty said we did. Patty, what'd you do? Tell us what you did. And if you want to talk through it, by the way, if anybody ever wants to ask a question live, you don't need to come on camera. You can just turn on your microphone. I can invite you. We can see if that works. Or you can just use the chat feature, which everybody likes to do. So that's totally cool. So where I was headed with this was business rules typically run off action, right? And if you wanted something to happen lights out, and lights out, if you're not familiar with that term, lights out means nobody's in the file. Yeah, I know you can't come on camera. I know, it's okay, Patty. But where I was going with this was we're traditionally bound by desktop experience with business rules. And so what do we do when we don't want desktop to hold us back? What we do is we use third-party software. And third-party software could be self-created, of course, but third-party software meaning it sits outside of Encompass. Good news, Workflow Engine sits outside of Encompass. And so you can use Workflow Engine in ways that you could never do with desktop, nor will you ever be able to do with desktop Even plugins, even third-party plugins, again, maybe you wrote one yourself, but third-party plugins that go into Encompass can only run when somebody's in Encompass. And so what becomes pervasive over the years, remember, Encompass is celebrating its 20th anniversary at some point this year. Maybe it's now already, maybe it's in a few months, but it's 2004 Encompass was launched. So 20 years later, we are all burying business rules into our Encompass. Why? Because the business demands it. Oh, Patty did the automated flood. Patty, this is the workflow engine, right? And Chris said, yes, I did, based on 3142 being empty. Flood cert request empty, flood cert receiving empty, and mouse to move into processing. All right, so moving to processing was your trigger. 3142 being empty. So you're ordering your flood cert before you send out your disclosures because you want to know if they're in a flood zone to disclose flood insurance, right? That's probably why you're doing that. The one thing I'll say about this, and so Patty and Chris did not give good examples. Oh, sent the processing is completed. Oh, 3142 is completed. Okay. So you've already sent the disclosures. It went to processing and now you fire, and that's fine. I've seen companies use the ITP being triggered and instead of being sent to processing, because it could mean the same thing, but they want to make sure we've got the intent to proceed in the file before they automate flood, appraisal, fraud, you name it, those kind of verifications, those kinds of things. So where was I headed with this? So when it came into, I just totally lost my train of thought. So with the syntax, so the two things, one of the two things that Patty and Chris didn't really outline is the syntax is extraordinarily different in Workflow Engine. How different? Different enough you're going to want to use the condition editor before you write Workflow Engine rules, please. So yesterday is a good example. I was doing a notification business rule for some branch managers to alert them when a lender credit appeared on the URLA lender, so they didn't keep giving away money when the loan was losing money.